problem because it wasn't hurting me. But every time I didn't fight it, I let systemic racism continue.
Hello everyone and welcome to This Week is Stupid for the 18th of April 2021. Happy Sunday. If you do like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. It does help me a lot with the algorithm. Now, a lot of you guys have asked me to talk a little bit more about news from Australia, the land of betting. So I'm looking at their television networks and I'm seeing something weird in the ratings regarding ABC's Q&A, which used to be one of their flagship programs. It gives me the Star Trek Discovery vibes. You see, both Star Trek and ABC's Q&A were really great shows. Like, they had excellent content. But for some reason, it failed in the ratings. For some reason, people just refused to watch it. Especially Star Trek Discovery, it got BTFO'd by Wheel of Fortune reruns and Hell's Kitchen. And ABC Q&A is the same thing, like really great content, but for some reason it just can't do well in the ratings. So I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to show you some of this excellent content, and then you can judge for yourself and ask, like, why aren't people watching more of this?
Terrorism is theatre, and all counter-terrorism is theatre. I could go down to Toys R Us and construct something like this and get one of those lightsaber things that goes zoot, zoot, and every time you walk into my classroom I could go, wait a minute, zoot, zoot, and that'd have an effect, because that's what security is, that's what counter-terrorism is.
As a woman, I'm asking, how many rapists must we kill until men stop raping us?
Australia, whatever. Like, we live in a colonial state, and I think for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, we are living in a constant state of duress. I wonder what our kind of tipping point in Australia is going to be when people are going to start burning stuff. I look forward to it.
Excuse me, Islam to me is the most feminist religion.
Well, I'm going to say something really dangerous now.
Make that, I'm going to say something really dumb now.
For example, I would argue that traditional marriage, which included conjugal rights, particularly when women were not able to go to work or were fired when they first got married and were basically selling their bodies and their reproductive rights to their husband, he bought them, by giving her room and board in return, was a form of prostitution.
I don't get it. Why isn't it more popular? I mean, it's educational, it's good for the children, it sparks conversations. Why aren't people watching it? In other news, woman arrested after refusing to return $1.2 million put in her bank by accident. Well, this is like that meme from Monopoly, bank error in your favor. You know what they say, if you owe the bank $100, that's your problem. If you owe the bank $1.2 million, then that's the bank's problem. And apparently the bank went to the law and decided to prosecute this lady who, I can't even fault her, did not want to give the money back. Apparently she is a sheriff office worker and she was arrested for refusing to return more than the $1.2 million that was accidentally deposited in her account. Now, here's my question. Okay, what if I accidentally transfer money to another individual? Can I get it back? Probably not. But if the bank transfers money accidentally to another individual, well, that's a completely different story. Follow the roses, young one. It leads to your destiny. Sexismus. The patriarchy strikes again. Sexismus is a serious problem. I noticed the mainstream media stopped talking about it recently. Haven't heard about the patriarchy in years, but it still exists. It hasn't been solved. And we're being told about this by CNN Brooke Baldwin, which makes the claim that CNN is dominated by men. Could you believe this? I couldn't. But after I read her, I was like, oh, wow, I mean, she must be right. I've been anchoring for 10 plus years. The majority of that time, 2 hours in the afternoon. And in that time, you know, the most influential anchors on our network, the highest paid, are men. My bosses, my executives, are men. The person who oversees CNN Dayside is a man. And my executive producer for 10 years is a man. So I have been surrounded by a lot of men. Now, I really felt for this lady, and I really wanted to help her out, which is why I asked Tucker Carlson from Fox News, you know, a competitor that doesn't seem to have this problem, to come up with a solution. And here we have Tucker providing it.
Jeff Zucker should transition. It's not hard. As CNN has told us many times, if you look like a woman, you are a woman. You have all the female intuition and empathy that the sex is famous for overnight. The transformation is instantaneous. So Jeff Zucker wearing Dockers has no earthly idea what Brooke Baldwin is talking about. It's like she's speaking Latvian. But you put Jeff Zucker in a sheer black strapless dress and he instantly understands her. Maybe he'll even rehire her. Jeff Zucker will, as we say in the female community, finally get it. Toxic masculinity solved.
A couple of things. I don't know everybody else's salary, so I can't say that it's a, and it's a boys club. I just got there.
You don't think it's a boys club, as Brooke had said.
I don't think it's.
You're having lunch with Zucker. I'm guessing she's not.
Well, I don't know who's. I mean, I actually called him up and said, "Would you like to have lunch?" I mean, she can do the same thing.
Fair.
He just got there for 15 years. Listen. Let me mansplain to you how you get invited to the bro lunch with Jeff Zucker. And by the way, this is all happening when a higher up at CNN has been caught drinking a $1 beer, and all of a sudden he thinks he's like Socrates, going around going like, oh, COVID? Oh, gangbuster ratings, man. Like, we love to scare the living shit out of people. It's amazing for the ratings. Yes, we are biased. Yes, we are pushing an agenda. Mwahahaha. And you know who got the last laugh? He got the last laugh because James O'Keefe got banned from Twitter, finally. It was about time. Yeah, like this, you thought that this was a trap for CNN. It's like they got a nice pair of boobies in front of this guy, gave him a $1 beer. He thought he's Socrates. He spelled the beans, but the beans were poisonous. The beans, when they were planted, led to the giant, to the Jack Dorsey. And he went like, fee fi fo fum, I smell the taint of a Veritas man. And because of that, he banned Project Veritas from the Twitter for, get this, spamming and impersonating accounts. Of course, right? So with that, another evil has been removed from society. We now can live a little bit better knowing that our authoritative sources are being left alone. Can you imagine a world without authoritative sources, or where the authoritative sources would be called into question? That would be horrible. I would not want to live in such a world. It would be anarchy. Like, how would you know what to think? Meanwhile, in Romania, a hospital was grinded to a halt because the doctors weren't able to do bureaucracy properly. You see, in Romania, because it's a public hospital, every single medical act needs to be documented and filed. And they use a computer system in order to do this. Now, my question is, like, what do you think happens when a doctor spends time on the computer watching a little bit of La Gente, watching a succubus going ara ara on the main character? I assume that's what he watched, because he's a doctor, so he must have taste, right? But apparently, because someone watched the unwatchable, a virus came into contact with the system, and because of that, the entire computer network was unusable, which caused the entire hospital to be unable to function properly. So there you go. People keep asking me what happens in Romania. This is what happens in Romania. So if you're working in a hospital, use your smartphone. That's why it's smart. You just use that instead. If you can't help yourself, do not use the actual work computer. Oh, hi, Mark. You may be wondering how I got myself into this situation. Well, It all started when my evil fiance suggested that we should buy a house from a black person. By the way, let me understand, like, no, seriously, like, I'm trying to wrap my mind around this. So, massive immigration, no borders is good, but moving into a minority neighborhood is bad. Alright, got it. There is one thing, though. That song is so freaking catchy. Like, I had it stuck in my head the entire day. It's like, buyer, gentrifier. You know, here's the challenge. This Week in Stupid challenge. Give me a YouTuber that can sing death metal, like Sticks, Axe and Hammer or Razor Fist. And they should do a song based on this, like, buyer, gentrifier. Man, like, you know, I should use this as a ringtone. No, seriously, like, it's so catchy. Like, you're going to curse me later on, because you're going to finish This Week in Stupid, and 2 or 3 hours later, it's going to be in your head, and it's going to be like, buyer, gentrifier, and I'm going to be like, God damn it, V, what did you do? You know, I should have, like, this whenever someone gives me a super chat. It's like, $5 for Romanian TV, and it's like, buyer, gentrifier. I need to do that. It needs to happen. In the meantime, let's talk about something we haven't. COVID. Yes, the COVID. Looking at the news, and CNN Politics is saying that putting politics in front of lives. Governor Ron DeSantis faces criticism over Florida's COVID-19 response. This was last year. Now it's a year into the pandemic. Florida is booming. And Republican Governor Ron DeSantis has the audacity to take credit. You know why I think this is the case? I'll tell you why. It's the vaccine, man. It's the vaccine. It's the jab. It's very effective. Do you know how effective it is? Not only does it protect you from COVID, but it also protects you from volcanic eruptions. It can save your life. Do you think I'm joking? Okay, let's do it like that. I'll convince you. I will convince you. I know, like, people, well, V, you're talking out of your ass, like the science. Like, no. Like, I'm telling you, okay, if you get the jab, it can actually protect you from volcanic explosions. And if you're a YouTube moderator wanting to shut down this video for spreading misinformation, just like, hold on. Chotomate, wait a little bit. I'll show you what I mean. And then you'll see, you know what? This YouTuber was right. Why did I jump to conclusion? No, he was absolutely right. Check this out.
Nearly 20,000 people are out of their homes on the Caribbean island of St. Vincent after the first volcanic eruption there in more than 40 years. The volcano sent a thick cloud of smoke 20,000 feet into the sky, spewing ash for miles. Cruise ships are evacuating people from the island, but only those vaccinated against COVID.
There, you see? I told you I was right. It's like, if you're vaccinated, you get evacuated. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want to put people that are vaccinated with the people who aren't vaccinated. They might get infected. So, obviously. Get the vaccine. Get it. It can save your life. You never know. You know, like alien invasions, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes. You might need evacuation. And then it's like, last minute notice, like ding, 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 ding. You know, had these people known earlier, were they smarter like me, got vaccinated, they would have been evacuated. It is their fault for not knowing the future. Do you know how I know the future? I follow Noah Shatman on Twitter. He's a Shatman. He predicts the future. No, I'm not kidding. Like, look, last year, we are days away from Putin promised me there were no bounties, aren't we? This was during the Trump administration. It was like a big thing, if you guys remember. Massive thing. Huge scandal. Like, CNN talked about it for a couple of months, actually. Experts were called. Authoritative news. Right? And here you have, like, Noah Shatman. You know what's going to happen? Like, Trump is going to come up. He's going to say, like, Putin promised me there were no bounties. Ha! See? Debunked. Debunked, CNN. Debunked. This is from last week. U.S. Intel walks back blockbuster Russian bounties claim. Oopsie. It was fake news. But see, Noah Shatman knew. Like, Noah Shatman was aware. This is why I follow him. He predicts things. He knows the future. Yeah, what else do you want me to talk about? news from other countries. You want me to talk about Canada, don't you? Want me to talk about Canada. What's your favorite computer game? My favorite computer game is Papers, Please. And I wish I was in Canada, because then I could actually play it in real life. I mean, check this out.
We have implemented the strictest measures in all of North America. And the difficult truth is, every public health measure we have left comes with a massive cost to people and their lives. But we have never shied away from doing what's necessary.
We have made the deliberate decision to temporarily enhance police officers' authority for the duration of the stay-at-home order. Moving forward, police will have the authority to require any individual who is not in a place of residence to, first, provide their purpose for not being at home and provide their home address. Police will also have the authority to stop a vehicle to inquire about an individual's reason for leaving their residence.
And our inspectors will also be ensuring that those who absolutely must come to work are strictly following the public health measures. For our employers and employees, take note, this is your last warning.
I'm wondering about these new police powers to just randomly stop someone walking down the street or to pull over a car. What happens if a person refuses to answer the police questions?
So by issuing these new additional enforcement measures, it allows police officers to ask the person why they are not at their place of residence and what their place of residence is. And specifically to your question, if you are not willing to comply, then you are breaking the law.
If someone sees their neighbors breaking these new regulations and having a party in their yard, that sort of thing, should people call police on their neighbors?
In terms of people calling to snitch, to inform, look, we all have a personal responsibility.
I like that lady. I love how calm she is when she lays down the law. It's like, yeah, you're going to go out and the police is going to be, why are you out of your home, citizen? I'm going shopping. See, this is not how you do it properly, though. Why do I need to come from Eastern Europe to tell you how it's done? No. See, the way Romania did it, which is the proper and moral way, is to ask people to sign affidavits at home. So at home, you're going to take a piece of paper and you're going to write your name, your social security number, your home address, and the reason for leaving your house. Like, I need to go do essential shoppings or whatever, right? And then signature, date, and then you walk out. And when the cop catches you, papers. And you show your identification, your ID, which is racist, but you show it anyway, and you show the affidavit. And if the affidavit isn't completed properly, if it like misses a letter or the date isn't accurate, then you get a $2,000 fine. That's how Romania did it, motherfucker. That's how we roll. That's how we save lives. Do you understand this? Like, do you know how important this is? This is the correct way of doing things, not like, because if the cop just asks you, like, why are you out? No, you can say, you know, like, I'm going shopping. How will the cop know? Like, no, you need the affidavit. And the cop can go, it's like, okay, so you went shopping, but your house is here and the nearest store is there. Why are you in this location, citizen? And then busted. And if you want to leave again, so let's say you leave for shopping once, and then you're leaving to walk the dog or throw some garbage in the trash can or whatever. Then you need a new affidavit. So every time you leave the house, a new paper. Make sure it's completed properly, or else you're in violation of the law. So, yeah, I mean, good luck, Canadians. We had a lot of fun last year doing that. And now you can do it as well, and you can tell me how it worked out, and maybe I'll make a video about it. And while we're on the subject of COVID, which, by the way, I'm sick and tired of talking about it. Like, I want to stop talking about it. But what can you do? It's everywhere in the news. Like, I can't have a This Week in Stupid without at least a couple of mentions of it. It's like the Socrates from CNN said. Huge for ratings. Blockbuster. Huge with ratings. So, Men are less likely to wear masks. Another sign that toxic masculinity kills. The Guardian. See that toxic masculinity. That's why it killed, because it's toxic. A number of men, including Trump, think masks make them look weak. A reminder of how damaging gender stereotypes are. And look at her face of concern. Huh? This was last year, this year. If women are hesitant about the vaccine, it's because the health industry hasn't earned their trust. Obviously. Women's health concerns are often dismissed and their health problems are under-researched. No wonder they're skeptical. Yes, you know, like when you have a pregnant woman in the hospital and she's about to give birth, every single doctor just dismisses her concern. Yeah, that's how it works. The Guardian is right to be concerned. And by the way, this is from the same mademoiselle that brought us this gem. Why Ivanka Trump's new haircut should make us very afraid. I mean, I'm not a toxic male, because toxic masculinity makes you fearless. I'm very afraid, especially when I see women's haircut. If her family cares about anything, it is image. Her political bob may be an attempt to get us to take her ambitions more seriously. The uproar over AOC's hair is a reminder that women can't win under the patriarchy. Arwa Mahdawi, I think, is a double agent. I think she works for the patriarchy. She created fear about Ivanka Trump's haircut. Women simply can't play by the patriarchy's rules, which is why we need to stop and learn all the way out. Now, while we're on the topic of women, J.K. Rowling had a hot take. Some pro-independence Scots are deaf-eaterish. Deaf-eaterish. Man, the pop culture references, the pop culture zingers just don't stop coming, do they? I think I'm going to start calling them mom jokes. Because the dad jokes, everyone knows what they are. And they're bad. But the pop culture references also need to be called out. And like, I'm going to stand out against the pop culture references. Yeah, Deaf Eaterish. By the way, like, weren't the Deaf Eaters in her story kind of misunderstood? I mean, think about it. Wizards have to hide their identity. I mean, they were persecuted. They were in the closet. They couldn't be who they were because of the Muggles. So, like, the Deaf Eaters just wanted to come out of the closet. Like, they wanted to, Why were they bad? I don't know. I haven't read Harry Potter, but just people tell me that they're bad Deaf Eaters. Like, maybe because they have deaf in the name, Like, if they would have marketed themselves differently, if they were like the Love Eaters or something like that, then things could have been differently. But yeah, so J.K. Rowling doesn't appreciate some pro-independence Scots. Which doesn't really surprise me, considering she puts her body where her mouth is. Like, look at this, £1 million. It's a lot of money. Like, take that, Death Eaters. What are you going to do? Use your magic, I'll use my money. I think J.K. Rowling managed to win that argument. Yeah, so many news about feminism all of a sudden and women and stuff. It's like 2016 again. But now the fight is different. You know, now feminism is international. And it's not waged with words anymore. It's waged with the military. Because according to CNN Politics, concerns mount that the United States withdrawal from Afghanistan could risk progress on women's rights. Holy shit. Like, that's why the military is in Afghanistan. That's why the US is like an occupying force in Afghanistan. Because they're fighting for women's rights. I mean, if that's the standard, Japan has better watch out. Oh, you don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah, I know why you don't know what I'm talking about. It's because you don't read the news. Like, look here, bigot. Japanese mayor says men should grocery shop during pandemic as women, quote unquote, take a longer time. This is from CNN. Like, I'm not making it up. Like, he actually said this. And then you have Japan Olympics chief who said women talk too much will resign over remarks. And then we got the Tokyo Olympics official resigns after calling plus-size celebrity. Oh, I can't reproduce this. Like, this is even a misogynist like me find this to be a little bit too much. A little bit. It was few people's idea of funny. Very problematic. And finally, Japanese government asks universities to close social sciences and humanities faculties. Japan Minister of Education has asked all national universities to close their social sciences and humanities departments. 26 universities have so far confirmed plans to close affected faculties or convert them to areas that better merit society's needs. Japan, what are you doing? Like, Japan, did you see what America said about Afghanistan? Biggest military in the world is all I'm saying, Japan. Like, maybe you should calm down with this rhetoric. Maybe you should stop saying these harmful jokes. I mean, you never know what Biden might be thinking. Or maybe it's that the Japanese look towards the UK military and they think that the US might be similar. Soldiers banned from calling each other lads over fears it could cause offense. I mean, yeah, you never know how the other soldier identifies as, even if you live with him in a barrack. It's not like they got their pronouns on their forehead or something, so you might offend someone. Like, how is he going to deal with that? Can you imagine being a soldier and being offended by words? I mean, being stuck in the trenches while bombs are flying is one thing, but being offended by words is just totally off the scale. You know, I think this is what the Chinese are going to do. They're going to use audio devices in order to call the enemy lads. And that's going to completely demoralize the enemy military, right? Yeah, well, while the UK is making sure that you're not allowed to call each other lads, and the United States is developing flight suits for pregnant women. Let's look at what the Chinese are doing.
起钢枪，就要放下儿女情长，穿上军装，就要舍弃舒适安逸。 征战疆场，男儿本色；从军报国，此生无悔。我是中国军人，我是人民子弟兵，我是美好生活的 守护者。
Hey, if heaven forbid a conflict ever breaks out, can I be on their side, please? I mean, they seem to know what the fuck they're doing. Even if it's a little bit more reactionary. Even if the Chinese military is a little bit more conservative. From the advert, it seems that they're more focused on, you know, defending their country versus what the West is doing, focusing on social issues and making sure the soldiers are comfortable and not offended. Yeah. Other than that, I love the Democrats, by the way. I really love their team. Like, I'm Team Blue, 100%. Do you know why? Like, they win every single issue. Like, they're on the right side of history every single time. I mean, did you know that even when it comes to the exact same issue, they're on the right side? So, in the past, they were talking about how you should maintain the same number of judges on the Supreme Court. Like, they would view as fascism in order to increase the number of judges. Now, they're for increasing the number of judges. Like, literally the same politicians are arguing for both sides. I mean, this is like an exercise in rhetoric, I guess. And since they always win, I'm expecting they're going to win now as well, huh? Wouldn't that be interesting to see? The heck do I know about American politics? But I like the party of the strong. That is it. Yeah, I like the winning team. I don't like the losers. Is it a valid reason, though, to support the party just because they're winning? Yeah, anyway. Hopefully you enjoyed This Week in Stupid. I hope you really liked it. And if you did, let me know what you think in the comment section. I know this episode wasn't as funny as the previous ones, but hey, I don't make the news. I just report on it. And let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to you in the chat. And if you really like it for some really bizarre reason, then please send me a super chat. And think about the song in your head, right? Buy it, gentrify it. I'll see you guys.